Bill Perkins opens the conversation with a profound reflection on life's finite nature, emphasizing the idea that we have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. This realization, he explains, shifts people from living on autopilot, assuming they have endless time, to consciously pursuing what truly matters. When individuals grasp that their time is limited, they tend to care less about societal expectations and more about chasing authentic fulfillment. Perkins stresses that this awareness encourages people to dive deep into their desires and live intentionally rather than postponing gratification indefinitely. This philosophy underpins much of Perkins' advice throughout the podcast. He critiques the common cultural narrative that prioritizes saving money for distant retirement over enjoying life in the present. According to him, delaying gratification without a clear plan for fulfillment is essentially no gratification at all. The body ages and deteriorates, limiting the ability to enjoy experiences later in life. Therefore, Perkins advocates for a balanced approach that values spending money to create meaningful memories while health and vitality are still abundant. A significant theme in the discussion revolves around the psychological motivations behind saving and spending. Perkins identifies fear as a primary driver for excessive saving, fear of running out of money, fear of the unknown future. While fear is a useful survival mechanism, it only helps people survive rather than thrive. He contrasts this with the mindset of optimizing for fulfillment, which requires courage to spend and enjoy life now. Perkins candidly admits that much of his own frugality was fear-based, estimating it at about 80% fear and 20% optimization. He explains that fear keeps people alive by protecting them from immediate dangers, but can also trap them in a survival mode that robs them of present joy. The key, he suggests, is to recognize when fear is driving financial decisions and to consciously shift toward choices that enhance life's quality and richness. Perkins shares his background as a commodities trader specializing in natural gas, where he accumulated significant wealth. He highlights that success in trading requires not only intelligence, but also mental fortitude and a stoic attitude toward risk and loss. Most people possess the intellectual capacity to trade, but lack the emotional resilience to endure the inevitable setbacks. His motivation for pursuing wealth was straightforward: to exchange a few hours of his time for many hours of others' time, thereby gaining freedom and resources to live life on his terms. Perkins wanted to escape the constraints of frugality and scarcity, aiming instead to have enough money to satisfy his desires without hesitation. This mindset of embracing risk and seeking freedom through capital accumulation is central to his financial philosophy. Perkins attributes much of his success and mental stability to Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches detachment from ego and acceptance of life's ups and downs. He describes how he developed this mindset from childhood experiences and deliberate practice, including reading Stoic literature and learning not to take things personally. This detachment allows him to remain calm during market volatility and personal challenges. He also draws parallels between Stoicism in trading and in relationships, noting that calm, thoughtful responses to adversity lead to better outcomes than emotional reactivity. For Perkins, Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions, but about managing them to maintain clarity and focus. This mental training enables him to take calculated risks without being overwhelmed by fear or greed. The core message of Perkins' book, Die with Zero, is that individuals should aim to spend their money fully before death, maximizing life's fulfillment rather than hoarding wealth indefinitely. He challenges the conventional wisdom of always growing net worth and saving for a distant future, arguing instead that there is an optimal peak time to have the most money, usually aligned with one's biological age and health. Perkins explains that as people age, their ability to convert money into meaningful experiences declines due to physical and mental limitations. Therefore, the goal is to identify when one's net worth should peak and then gradually spend down assets to enjoy life fully. This approach requires careful planning and self-awareness, but ultimately leads to a richer, more satisfying life. Throughout the podcast, Perkins emphasizes that health is the most critical determinant of fulfillment. Without good health, money and time lose much of their value because physical and mental capacities to enjoy life diminish. He advocates for investing in health through activities like walking, hiking, and maintaining a balanced diet, which are accessible even to those with limited financial means. He also discusses the concept of biological age versus chronological age, noting that some people remain physically capable well into their later years, while others decline earlier. This variability means that spending and lifestyle decisions should be tailored to one's health status rather than just numerical age. Perkins encourages listeners to monitor their health metrics and use that information to guide how and when they spend their resources. Perkins highlights the importance of spending money on experiences rather than material possessions, as experiences generate memory dividends that provide ongoing fulfillment long after the initial event. He shares personal anecdotes about how activities like wake surfing with friends or traveling have created lasting joy and social connections. He contrasts this with spending on things like luxury cars, which he admits he once pursued but found unfulfilling. Experiences, especially those shared with loved ones, create meaningful memories that enrich life and contribute to a sense of thriving. Perkins encourages people to prioritize spending on activities that foster connection, adventure, and personal growth. The conversation delves into how financial priorities and spending habits should evolve with age. Perkins advises that younger people should focus on physically demanding and adventurous activities while they have the health and energy to enjoy them. As people age, they can shift toward more sedentary or reflective pursuits. He also addresses the dilemma faced by those with limited income, suggesting that survival and health come first. But even with modest means, one can make intentional choices to maximize fulfillment. Perkins stresses the importance of breaking life into periods or time buckets and planning what experiences and goals are desired in each phase, allowing for flexibility and discovery. Perkins offers a nuanced critique of the financial independence, retire early, FIRE movement, acknowledging its value in promoting saving and financial discipline, but warning against its extremes. He argues that some adherents become overly focused on frugality and delay life's pleasures, effectively living in jail by postponing enjoyment for a distant retirement that may never fully materialize. He contrasts this with cultures like Japan, where saving is balanced with community and fulfillment. Perkins encourages a more conscious and intentional approach to money that avoids both reckless spending and excessive saving. He believes that true financial wisdom lies in aligning spending with personal values and life goals, rather than rigid rules. A recurring theme is the call to live intentionally rather than on autopilot. Perkins stresses that money, health, and time are tools to achieve the ultimate goal of fulfillment, which is unique to each individual. He encourages listeners to reflect deeply on what fulfillment means to them and to make deliberate choices about how to allocate their resources accordingly. This intentionality extends beyond finances to include relationships, health habits, and personal growth. Perkins believes that living consciously requires ongoing self-assessment and willingness to adapt as one discovers new interests and priorities. The book Die with Zero serves as a guide to cultivating this mindset and breaking free from societal conditioning. Perkins shares insights from his experiences with fame, risk-taking, and personal development. He reveals that while fame can bring certain advantages, such as social opportunities, it often robs individuals of privacy and authentic connections. He prefers a life of relative anonymity that allows for genuine experiences without constant public scrutiny. He also discusses the value of embracing discomfort and risk as pathways to growth. Whether in trading, entrepreneurship, or personal challenges, taking calculated risks and stepping outside comfort zones can lead to greater fulfillment and success. Perkins encourages people to experiment, try new experiences, and not be afraid of failure as part of the journey. Toward the end of the podcast, Perkins offers actionable guidance for listeners seeking to optimize their lives. He suggests starting by estimating one's expected lifespan and breaking life into manageable periods to plan desired experiences and goals. This framework helps align spending and saving with actual life circumstances rather than abstract financial targets. He also emphasizes the importance of focusing mental energy on revenue generation and meaningful activities rather than obsessing over minor savings. Perkins advocates for collaboration, such as working with partners or communities, to accelerate idea generation and execution. Ultimately, he encourages a balanced approach that values health, wealth, and time as interconnected resources to be used wisely for a fulfilling life.